Tell them, say you there. Tell you never, tell them, say you there. Tell them, say you there. Yeah. We just send them go down. 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 Tell them, say you there. Tell them, say you there. Tell you never, tell them, say you there. Tell them, say you there. We just send them go down. Small, send them go down. Yeah. We just send them go down. Small, we just send them go down. Enjoy media. Mami Talabi, Pape Charlie, Emi Oju, Si Bonu Oju, Emi Mari Oju, Tinde ya Oju, Mande Ati na Bada no. No to Bada no. Tell them say you there. Tell you never, tell them say you there. Tell you never, tell them say you there. Tell them say you there. Yeah. We just send them go down. Tell them, we just send them go down. Yeah. We just send them go down. Tell them, we just send them go down.
Come from the nation.
On the day of the low, go be dancing and they go down low. All my boys chatty, they rocky, yeah. I need you there, start the day. Who's inside there? They go make you enjoy you and tell you tell them say you there. Tell you never, tell them say you there. Tell you never, tell them say you there. Tell them say you there. Just send them go down. Send them go down. We just 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 send them go down.
Oh yes, tell them that we are here. Our children are here as well, you know. They shouldn't eat all. They should eat some and keep some. Yeah, tell them the children are here. Some of them are right now lying down in hospitals, health centers. The parents are out there trying to find medication and take back to the hospital so they can be treated. Tell them the children are lying down in the hospitals. Yes, that woman just giving birth. She's struggling. How she and the baby and herself can survive. But tell them, the music say, tell them, say we day here. Okay, we're going to start the show today. I'm going to take you, I want to do some reflection here because it's sometimes good to go back to, to yesterday, that's why, for every job you do, you have to put things in place like you can do personal evaluation and you can also do personal monitoring. So probably the days of yesterday when I when I conducted some interviews, as compared to today, is quite different. And so we're going to visit some of the interviews and discussions I had here, probably a couple of years ago, last year, or no, year before last, I think, or so. And I spoke to a couple of individuals, Ambassador Bobby Wilfield of Australia, who is now in Liberia, Honorable Muna Penham, Mr. Prince Taylor here in the UK, J. Randy Depo, yeah, lots of them. But then I just want to reflect a little bit. But let's hear from Abba K. Jaja. Welcome, sir, Chief of Public Affairs at the Liberian Embassy here in the United Kingdom. It's great to see you on the platform, sir. It's been a long time. I hope the family are doing well there as well. But let's start off with our professor, Professor Patrick Lumumba.
Leadership did not have any faith in those institutions. Typically, the typical African politician, perhaps not in Tanzania today, if they were sick, they had a cold, they would not go to Muhimbili, they would go to London. If they were Kenyan, they would not go to Kenyatta Hospital, they would run to the United Kingdom. Tragedy, no hygiene in our politics, because Africans had started engaging in theft. In fact, I used to say that African politicians were thieves. Then I went to Uganda and I was told that they are not thieves, they are looters. And when I went to Liberia last week, I was told they are not looters. I was told they are looters on an industrial scale. That is...
Our country. Good evening, good evening, sir, Mr. Football, community leader, wonderful community leader there in Holland. Great to see you on the platform as well. Okay, we'll also be reading you the letter we wrote to our petition letter, that is the Justice Forum Liberia. Well, it's, in a way, it's a petition also requesting some of the organizations and diplomats accredited near the city of Monrovia with respect to the communication between Minister Eugene Fagon and another fellow, in which they threatened the life of many people. And Justice Forum, we thought that this has raised a concern, and so we decided to write a few organizations today. We wrote Amnesty International in particular, and we CC copied the U.S. ambassador to Liberia, and also CC copied the UK ambassador to Liberia. And we will share with you on this platform later on, just before my guest analyst can come, and so we can do the newspapers. But let's just remind ourselves again. Let's ask the professor again to remind us about how Africa is being betrayed by her own sons and daughters. Let's remind ourselves. I mean, the people, the rest of the world is getting to know. They are taking note, and they are aware today that Liberia, that we are looting our own country. We are betraying our own people. And this gone to the international community as well. Listen to Professor again, yeah, before I can bring in Honorable Muna Penham, and then another voice, and another voice, and another voice.
Really, they would go to London. If they were Kenyan, they would not go to Kenyatta Hospital, they would run to the United Kingdom. Tragedy, no hygiene in our politics, because Africans had started engaging in theft. In fact, I used to say that African politicians were thieves. Then I went to Uganda and I was told that they are not thieves, they are looters. And when I went to Liberia last week, I was told they are not looters. I was told they are looters on an industrial scale. That is the logical metamorphosis of the African politician who...
Logical metamorphosis. The African politician. Their quest is just to get in power and begin to loot. All right, okay, let's start the show. Welcome to the program, the Prince News Review. Thank you so much, all of you that are sharing the video. I appreciate you. That's why I love you. I love you people. Thank you. Thank you for inviting somebody. We open the lines later. You have your say. Because we are going to play a recording today by the Senate regarding the ambassador appointed for the United States of America. The language, yeah, English is not easy. They called a press conference today. The Secretary of the Senate called a press conference today, which we will play you later on. Only because of the maybe let me put it that way. That's why he said the misuse of the language by the FrontPage Africa. Recall and invite. Based on the use, you know, I don't know. I mean, that's why he called the press conference today just to say that, you know, FrontPage Africa was wrong in the headline they chose. We will play you that, and we will, because that will be our talking point tonight after we shall look at the papers. So welcome. Let's take let me go to the honorable. I think so, yeah.
Few days ago, yes, it is true, the storm was very heavy. And the storm made a lot of people homeless.
That's Honorable Mona Pena, man.
In terms of their roof, David versus Goliath. And I saw myself as the David in the midst of all the good veterans. And it also, you know, comes with numbers. And so coming from the interfaith fans and supporters, and for the fact that intellectually, you know, I'm very, very astute when it comes to, you know, the ability to sit there and express myself. And so that was one of the, you know, one of the characteristics or one of the abilities that were used in the process to get me where I am.
Did you use any specific message in your manifesto before winning the elections? Because I'm asking this question the last time when I had Mr. Robert Salif here. I did ask him with respect to why did he lose the election. He said, well, I lost the election because I was asked to lie to Liberian people, and I didn't want to lie. That's what caused me to lose it. What was the message, your manifesto, that you used to have won the election? Did you promise the Liberian people, your constituency?
Yeah, basically my message at that time was for generational change, vote Honorable Mona Pelham. Mona Pelham for generational change.
All right. Have you?
You know, the salary towards our today, we must be able to realize that we as a people, we must accept the fact that we have a standardized system, but the fact remains that there is some issues with the system. And these issues can be addressed.
I don't know. Let me say this. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit. You. I mean, as far as education is concerned, you say we have a system. The reason I'm asking the question is that I'm in Liberia every year. Even just recently, I was there. I came back just after the New Year. My understanding is that
I told you.
my understanding is thank you. Yeah, we met. My understanding is that there are schools, or a lot of schools in Liberia right now are using their own curriculum, but not the Ministry of Education curriculum. How would you have a system and schools are using their own curriculum?
That's what I tell you. We have a system. The system that we have is that the Ministry of Education provides the curriculum for instruction.
It's not effective.
Now, with this system, there are issues. Now, the issues is what you are talking about here today. That within the system that is being put into place, that the Ministry of Education is responsible to provide the curriculum for all schools within the country. Now, the issue here is that there are some schools, as per your claim, that are using their own curriculum. It means that there are factors leading to the reason why these institutions are doing that. That's what I said. These factors and issues can be addressed.
How? And who?
You understand? System. Now, how can this issue be addressed?
Men 3.
Yes.
And the lower house 73, women 9.
Yes.
Now, if you look at this ratio, are you okay? Are you satisfied with the true representation of as far as celebrating equality is concerned?
No, definitely I would tell you no. The number is too low, and within the Senate you have 30 persons, and then you have 3 females out of the 30. You know that it's a very minute poll of the the total number, and I'm not okay with it, even in of representatives, where you have 9 males in the House of Representatives out of 73. So if you talk about gender parity and you talk equality, it's when I see where frequency and once issues have been raised, and you know that once these issues that have been raised has the potentiality to better the life of your people, and if there is no such law, the independent law enforcement complaint oversight authority establishment, that go.
You have a lot of stairs to go up, and you have the building to represent the entire segment of Liberian community. Somebody on the wheelchair, somebody using crutches.
Yeah, the building is not accessible. It's not accessible for people with disabilities.
So who should we blame for that?
And that's why. And that's what we will blame our forefathers. We will blame those that were there yesterday in the process of the construction. They weren't farsighted, and even that's why the 53rd legislature with support from the Chinese government. There is a massive construction going on, and I do know certainly after that renovation is ongoing, the building will now become accessible for people with disabilities. But those mistakes were made yesterday.
Are you promising
and
that?
We cannot continue to dwell on the mistake.
Are you sure that at the completion of that building will be accessible to everybody in Liberia?
Definitely that building will be, because there will be elevators available in the building to take you up.
All right, that was Honorable Mula E. Pen on the Young Blood. That was 2 years ago, I think. She appeared on the Max K talk show, and opining on the issues of national concern. Unfortunately, yes, after I talked to her, I interviewed her here, I asked her a question about the Capitol building being a building that is so discriminatory that it doesn't represent the entire Liberian society, basically because anybody in a wheelchair would never ever have access to their representative up there, the senator. somebody using a cane who is partially blind or blind or so cannot find their way easily up there. Like before that interview, I've talked to quite a number of them. Now I started raising questions. That's why when I brought her on the show, I asked her, I said, can you tell us something about this building? You people are representing everybody in our building, but everybody are not accessible to you. They can't reach you. That's why she was saying, yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to make sure that the renovation that's going on, they were included. Unfortunately, this my Christmas visit, I never actually had the opportunity, or the time wasn't there for me to go and reach there. But I will definitely, this April, definitely, because the two Agnes, no, they finished with the first one, which is the legislative wing, and the senatorial wing is supposed to be completed hopefully before April. And so that would be my first priority, to visit and investigate what all of them that I met, and they promised that there will be ramp, there will be lifts, that everybody, even in a wheelchair, you'll be able to go in that building. That you can see that building being accessible now, that you also can say, yes, it's time for me. All right, let's go. We're going to take, we're expecting Amos and number 4, that Christian Nelson. But I'm going to do these, we're going to do a little bit of reflection, a little bit, just to remind some of those guys that we met yesterday on this platform. I brought them here, and they were advocates, some of them. Today they've gone so silent. I just want to remind them how they were doing things yesterday, during the days of the UP-led government, how they were shouting. But today they are nowhere around. And then by the time we're done with this, we go, and I'll invite my guests, Amos George and Christian Negofo Nelson.
Children coming out and thinking what we will be and what we can achieve. But to be able to get to that point, basically it requires a...
well, just listen to the voices. Perhaps some of you will be able to capture the voice, each and every one that that you will be hearing. Then you can perhaps leave the conclusion. I'll leave the conclusion with you.
Lot more than what's happening now. Though frustrated, but we have to be thankful as well, to be honest, that we can enjoy 10 years of peace. There are some level of developments going on in Liberia.
Just to let you know that all of the voices that you will be hearing here, that was during the era of the last portion of Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf's 4 years, 12 years in the government.
Listing of different. Did I hear you say commerce? Yeah. For all the floodplain area that should not be used for building, they should work along with the Public Works Ministry to utilize the zoning code or city ordinances, where they can be able to pinpoint every area that is prone to flooding and make sure that folks don't build in the way of the flood, because if they do, we'll have repeatedly flood.
The 4 cases that is only accounted for, at least they should have given a highlight. But what I noticed, there are a few. You remember when they said the Chinese that killed the South African on Rana Street? We cannot say where they are currently. The case with the Blaze, Casablanca, the fishing company.
That was a deep sigh you heard, and that was on purpose. First of all, you know, one of the unfortunate things that has happened over the decades with, and really as far as I'm concerned, going all the way back to 1979 and moving forward, is that so many of the systems that were in place in Liberia during the period of time before April 12, 1980.
No, thank you so much. First of all, let me tell you that violence in Liberia is not between the citizens. It's not among the citizens. It's not among the citizens. The problem in Liberia is between the government and the people. It's complete mistrust created between the people and the state because of how our leaders are elected, because of promises to give the people. And these things have created a serious picture. I'm telling you a serious picture where the people see the government to be their enemies, and at the same time where the government is trying to convince the people to try to do practice in another form of what was seen in the civil process. That's what happens. That's the reality. I don't think it's any different than any other political arena in the world. To be honest with you, I don't think it's any different.
So it means you fought the battle with honesty. That's what caused you to lose the election then.
I don't say it cost me to lose the election. I mean, there really are those, bad sides that go on with that. But we did it in an honest fashion. Now, yes, you're disappointed, but I wake up in the morning, my head high. I can walk anywhere in Mazzarella Council, and I can still point to 100 projects. It was there for people to see. I didn't make it up. I'm going to do it. We did it. I will do more. But this is what we have done. It wasn't enough. They chose, and that is okay. That is what the democratic process. They chose who they felt at the time, in December of 2014, who they wanted for 9 years. And the choice that we make in life, we have the evidence. We do, I do evidence. It is their choice. To me, we are honest. Nobody can go and look at our program and say, oh, the Lawrence Senate KP lied to us and said they would do this and said they would do that. Now, we heard the opposite. Now, the only reason we did all this stuff was to run for political office. See, we never do anything after that. Well, they went on with you. When we renovated all the bathrooms that you did wrong, when we did the NTA program, did wrong. All of those were post-election commitments. What else can I tell you, man?
So, Mr. Saliva, maybe if I sum up and ask you a question now, would you then agree that our leaders have used lies to get to the position of trust?
I did not say that.
Yes, basically, I can say yes, there is some improvement, which of course, but infrastructure improvement in the health sector is not only that, which of course can look at painting of the building, putting tile on the floor. It's not all.
No.
Because you can have all of those things. If there is no medication, which of course you notice that people will still die because.
And from where we have the BBIO program with massive success, so that is the mobilization of our ex-combatants.
Yeah.
When we took the guns from these people, we needed to replace the gun with something, with some basic knowledge. And some of those knowledges could have been some skills that they could have acquired to be able to help themselves. So we still have most of these people still complaining because they don't have jobs. The reason we don't have jobs, we don't have any basic education. The reason we don't have any basic education because they were not given the opportunity to go to school. So honestly, there are more complaints than people being happy.
This happened overnight in the West for people living in the West. But the citizens have stood their ground every step of the way. They participate in the democracy. They refuse to be compromised. It is their very survival that we are talking about here. If they don't stand up, not in a violent way, if they don't stand up and keep holding these corrupt leaders to account, he will continue going with impunity. Max, we have tried impunity for centuries on the continent of Africa.
See how the counters dress their kickball team. Those teams are in track suit, which of course our female national team don't have. What? Imagine we play a game in the team jersey with the boys. We use our own team material to train with national team or only play games for national team. Wow. We sleep on the ATS because of less transportation. Some of us are living far from ATS, but we have in this position. We have been having some difficulties financially. What many Liberians are going through is they do not understand the ramification and the importance of zoning. This is why we see our roads, our small cities, our streets, our communities all mix up. I mean, work is on the rise. The more we do awareness, the more we talk about it. So we are open for suggestions. We are open for ideas on how do we combat this. When you talk to people and you say because the way the girl dress or dresses, how do you explain a 46-year-old person raping a 3-month-old baby who is still wearing diapers? That has nothing to do with dress code. There's no medication, which of course you talk with the legalization of our ex-combatant knowledge. And some of those knowledges could have been some skills that they could have acquired to be able to help themselves. So we still have most of these people still complaining because they don't have jobs. The reason they don't have jobs, they don't have any basic people being happy. We are honest. Nobody can go and look at our to run for political office. You will never grow.
So, Mr. Saliva, maybe if I sum up and ask you a question now, would you then agree that our leaders have used lies to get to the position of trust?
I did not say that. Yes, basically, from fields because they don't have, because they were not given the opportunity to go to school. Every step of the way, they participate in the democracy. They refuse to be compromised. It is about their very survival that we are talking about here. If they don't stand up, not in a violent way, if they don't stand up and keep holding these corrupt leaders to account, they will continue going with impunity. Max, we have tried impunity for centuries on the continent of Africa. It's about their very survival that we are talking about here. If they don't stand up, not in a violent way, if they don't stand up and keep holding these corrupt leaders to account, they will continue going with impunity. Max, we have tried impunity for centuries on the continent of Africa.
All right, that's the voice of Ambassador Bobby Warfield. Okay, that was 2 years ago on Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Strong advocate for the CDC. But today, I mean, since the CDC came to power, yeah, he gone mute. I mean, these are the people now that say now nobody has the right. Nobody should get in the street to ask questions. That nobody, question or impunity. No way, nobody should ask any question about. You heard the voice of the former Minister of Gender and Children Protection. Actually, when we're talking about that, raping a 3 years old or so, and you heard the voice of the former Director of Zoning as well at the Minister of Public Works. You heard the voice of a couple of people that right now I can't remember. Honorable Muna E. Pelong as well. So it is so difficult sometimes. But we just want to remind some of them that yesterday, yes, you spoke. I'll bring you most of those actuality and voices. So, oh, I just lost Nook 4. Nook? All right. Right, Amos, you can call now. Let's see if we can kick the ball rolling. And I'm going to start here. Oh, God. It just dropped. All right, Amos, you can call back. Sorry. You can call. You can call back. You can call back. Mr. Nelson. Okay. All right, waiting for Amos now to join us as well. So let's see. I think Nook is here now. Nook. Nook 4. All right, Nook, are you there? Wow, what happened? Are you there?
Max?
Okay, good. You're on my speaker now, so I did the rest of the people.
Max?
Yeah, are you hearing me? There wasn't another yesterday. Are you hearing me? Hello, Nook? Nook, how are you? Are you there, Nook? Nook, are you there? No, I'm not getting him on there. It's sounding strange. Well, did you change the way you normally call? Hello? Nook? Hello? Nook, are you there? Are you there, Nook? All right, you can hear me now from here? Hello? Oh, something going on. It seems to be you changed the way you normally call, right?
No.
Yeah, something wrong somewhere because you're supposed to be hearing me from here. I think something wrong somewhere. You're supposed to be hearing me from here.
I'm hearing you.
Yeah, it shouldn't be the way it came today because I have to be pressing my button up and down. All right.
Let me reboot.
Yeah. Okay, please do that.
Okay.
All right. Amos. Good evening.
Yeah, Mike, how you doing?
How you doing?
How you doing?
Yeah, good. Welcome to the show. You heard the voices. We're just trying to remind you. I don't know when you started actually following me. I think on Facebook one day, right? Not when I was Radio LRB, no?
Yeah. On Facebook, actually, that's somebody last, I think, June, July.
Ah, all right, okay.
Yeah.
Those actuality, the voices that were playing. In fact, most of them was during the days of Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the minister, the representative, the social, well, I can say civil society advocates as well, and including I don't know whether you heard of Ambassador Bobby Wilfie from Australia. He used to be quite tough on the madam. Yeah, but since he used to be on integrity, he used to be on corruption, he used to be on everything. That had the propensity to actually derail the government and the functionality of our governments also. But since I think he went to Liberia just before the inauguration. Since then he's there. One day, I will inbox him and invite him like before. He used to be my one of the political analysts there for the Max Kpakio talk show when I was with Radio LRB. Uh, he's gone so mute. It's like he's not even on the planet. But that's the reality of today. All right, let's see what we can get. Let's see what we can get number 4. No?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
All right, yeah, it's not working the way it's supposed to work. I have to press the button up and down. Are you there? Are you there?
I'm here.
All right, I'm trying to get used because it changed the dimension of my how do you call it, my mixer. I have to press the button when I'm speaking. Yeah.
So how do I call you on Messenger?
No, you don't call me on Messenger because the only we have Amos already on live video, so you will stay here. I will keep managing it. I'll try.
Okay.
All right, gentlemen, you're welcome. Let's see where to start from. I don't know. Maybe let me just sorry. Let me go on a newspaper and read it, and then because the talking point tonight, I think there is something. Number 4, I think he was there because I saw his comment when the secretary for the Senate called some kind of a press briefing, and he had a newspaper, only the front page newspaper he had on hand. And based on what he said today, which I'm going to replay, I want us to take the issue. The Senate and front page Africa's language saga. I put it as a language saga leading to the issues of Liberian ambassador to the USA. What are your thoughts? Because he said that he had problem with the hairline. That because of the hairline, he said he wanted to put front page Africa in the hot waters or so. And there's a language there. Okay, 2 languages were used. One was used, and he said that one was wrong, which is front page Africa said that the ambassador had been recalled. So he called a press conference to tell us and tell the rest of the world that no, the ambassador was not recalled. The ambassador was invited. So that's a big, that's a big, how do you call it, crime that Front Page Africa committed today that is not happy to call the press conference. So we'll listen to him, and then you guys can analyze it from that point. But let's see what else, first of all. In fact, I'm going to reduce the papers. I'm going to stick on that story, and let me go straight to Front Page Africa, and then I have to come to his voice, the actuality, to go with this story. Let me see. But first of all, let me get the headlines as they appear on the Front Page Africa. Liberia, okay, major importer found liable of selling contaminated meat. That's one on the last breaking news to say. Liberia Senate vote to recall Liberia's ambassador to US. So that is also going on. Okay, I just did from the feed. Okay, I don't know what. Okay, mistaking identity or impersonation. I see somebody there. Margaret, interrogation of Liberia hacker unveiled. Are you getting me? No, are you getting? Number 4, are you getting out? No, are you getting me?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have to use the button that way. All right, and then okay, illegal ambassador. Okay, that's the airline there. I think that's the airline we are talking about. So I'm going to expand this story, and let's see what we can do with it as quickly as possible. What we'll do, probably I'll go to the recording and then come back to this thing. Not is yet not what's on the platform, so we're going to deal with it that way. So let me find the recording and just play it right now, and then from there we'll read the paper. Then we can get your analysis as well. Okay. I think no, I don't know. I don't know whether you hear this recording, but you heard it already. So something happening here. So I just have to do it the way.
On the front page, referring to the motion of taking by the Senate on the decision to invite the Liberian ambassador designate to the U.S. And so that clarification will be made by the Secretary of the Senate.
I would like to welcome you to our office this afternoon, or this evening. We have been taken aback on the front page publication of this Africa newspaper, asserting that the Senate voted for the recall of the ambassador to the United States of America. And quoting there that Senator Blago Brown of Maryland County made a motion that when the President immediately recalled the ambassador designated to the United States and be made to fill the Senate confirmation before reassignment. This statement, or these statements, are false and misleading. First of all, the committee report on the Committee on Foreign Relations, what others refer to as Foreign Affairs, did give a recommendation that based on Article 54 of the Constitution and the Senate standing rules of the Senate, the ambassador should appear before the committee confirmation hearing. What I want to make it straight is that the motion was made by the movement, Senator Blago Brown of Maryland County, and amended by Senator Sir Joseph of Monserrate County. And I would just like to take you back to what we call consideration of report. Under Section 670 of the Nation's Manual of Legislative Procedure that we use as our legal guardian, it says, the report of a committee consists only of a recommendation and has no force or effect until agreed by the House. Now, on the amendability of motions, our rule states, the international rules call it Parliament states, under Section 64 of the Nation's Manual of Legislative Procedure, that propositions are subject to rules in the form not acceptable to the body. And that proposition came from Senator Blago Brown. It was never acceptable to the body. It says that it is essential, therefore, that it be possible to amend propositions. And that was done by Senator Sir Joseph, in order that it states the common will of the group. And that common will of the group was the amendment that was made to the proposition proffered by Senator Blago Brown. Now, we could not look at the recalling because the amendment was also accepted by the movement that the ambassador be invited instead of a call. So we are taken by that the front page newspaper could carry this story saying that the vote was taken that the ambassador be recalled. That is false and misleading. So that's the first one. On the appearance of the ambassador before the committee that was agreed upon by the plenary, voted upon by plenary with 23 members, with no nay or abstention. This is the record. 23 members present, all voted in favor of the amendment to call the committee to invite the ambassador.
Oh, you are saying say again.
For the committee
You can-
confirmation hearing. In further, in compliance with Article 54 of the Constitution and Article 55, Section 6. Now, one will say that why appointment without confirmation and without commissioning? But the Senate rule, they are silent on that. It says appointment, and for ambassadorial level, there can be no appointment to a country without commission. I think you know that. But the Senate rule is silent on it because of appointment. And before you appoint, you have to pass through confirmation, you have to go through what we call commissioning. Thus, everything is embedded in one other rule, the past for the appointment. But now, it was in accordance with our rule. Is to go and send this ambassador to the Committee on Foreign Relations, and that's why the senators have taken. But at no time did they say, like in other quarters we hear that the senator asked the president to recall. No, there's nothing directed to the president or the calling an ambassador. Whether you have the president name in the motion that was made. That's why I'm going to clarify that. Then we'll ask that the front page newspaper try to retract their story and get on a good footing that the Senate did not vote to recall. Recall and invite, they are two different things.
Okay, I'm going to give you a
Senate
point.
did vote, and then was the invite the ambassador to appear before the committee.
All right.
Not to ask the president to recall.
All right, guys.
Another question I would like to take for you.
Let's have all of that because that's the main point there today. That's the main point there this afternoon. Actually, he called us a big point. Let me take a Gamo, you really yeah, you listened well. You were really listening because that was the first question I asked today on the platform. You know, what is your point? What are you trying to say? You know, I think. So this is it. Look, let me come to you first, Look, before, because you were on the platform today with KMTV when he was having this press conference. What is it actually that you get out of him? I mean, was the point of contention in which he said that the language in which FrontPage Africa took, which I mean by using the word recall instead of invite. Is there an issue with that? If you find it to be something that's
To tell the truth, I don't know why he couldn't call anybody like a proper statement, point of correction, and leave it that way. But how can a Senate force or news outlet to change the story? If you want us to change the story, show us the minutes. Let we all read the minutes, what happened. But he did nothing like that. I mean, Liberia is just a strange place.
Yeah, but you think this because what he said today, almost at the end, is that they might be preparing a kind of a legal action against FrontPage Africa for carrying for using the wrong words.
What would the political action be? Shut the paper down because the Senate said recall. Initially, that was the motion put forward until Senator Sir Joseph amended it to say invite of such. Well, initially, that was their language protocol. Recall, I don't know how the Senate can recall the ambassador. That's the president's prerogative, not the Senate. Again, the Senate got issue, go to the court, and let it go to law. But this whole thing, there's no law in Liberia. Because zero. Yes, it was done in the last administration, which of course was a violation of what president said, and everybody accepted it. So now, the next man come and do it. We keep trucking along. There's recess appointment in the old constitution of 1847.
Yeah.
It's stated in there that the president can do it. The Senate, I don't know whether the Constitution gives them the power to do that. Yes, they can make their own rules, but the rules must be in line with the Constitution. They don't do that.
All right, let me read that. Let me go to Amos. Amos, this is where we are. I mean, this he is not a senator. He's the secretary for the Senate. I have no idea. Don't ask me for his name. But I mean, hearing what you heard, what is your understanding?
Man, look. First of all, let us look at what the Constitution says. The Article 54B says that the president should nominate, and with consent of the Senate, ambassadors, commissioners, ministers, with the consent of the Senate.
Yeah.
The president did not do that. He appointed this man.
Yeah, but it was recess period though, don't forget.
Now listen, Rule 55 of the Senate say yes, the president can nominate, appoint anybody to act, but upon return of the Senate, the president should write the Senate to commission with the consent to confirm that person. So when the Senate returned, the president did not do that. So it is also in violation of the Senate rules. Section 55, that's the Senate rule. Say, hey, Mr. President, yeah, during our absence, you have the right to appoint anybody. But when we return, you should write out to inform us and let that person come for confirmation, to be confirmed by the Senate. And the president did not do that upon the Senate return. Okay, so now, any law or rule that is not in line with the Constitution, it is a violation. So the president, the executive branch, violated, that is the president violated the Constitution. There's no argument about it. It's clear, the language is very clear. Now the issue about recall and invite. What is recall? Just for somebody to go to a normal position. If the Senate said we're recalling the ambassador, or the president should recall the ambassador, it always means that the ambassador should return to the post he was before being nominated. That's all. Invite what? It is just a polite word. Inviting someone to come. That's all. But if the president violated, he did violate the Constitution. So if the word recall was used, the Senate was right. And now, but here's the issue, Mike. Who is a young man to come to say that the press front page should change or should retract the story? We'll see. To say that the Senate and the front page should retract the story, no. But when you have a country that the laws, the executive can get away with anything, this is what's happening in Liberia. But the Constitution is very clear on this issue. The president has the right to nominate ambassadors, commissioners, ministers, councillors, judges, and everybody. But he equally say, hey, the Senate must confront these people. And if during the absence, Senate Rule 55 states that the president has the right to nominate any of these people. But when they return, the president will have a right to inform them, hey, these are the nominations made during your absence. So now I want you to confirm these people. But they didn't do anything. But it goes back to tell you, the people who run in Liberia, you have someone who is a legal advisor to President Weah, who is Archibald Bernard. Archibald Bernard was senator during those time, and he a legal person. So this matter would have been resolved very easily upon the return of the Senate. All they needed to do right the Senate. And so during your absence, the president nominated so person. So we are asking that this man come for confirmation hearing, period. That's all needed to be done. So with this language business, the secretary is saying, oh man, I'm sorry. I don't think FrontPage will ever retract that story. And if you said you should retract the story, then bring all the motion that were filed earlier. Because Maryland senator, the senator from Maryland, he said that they should record the ambassador. So if you've seen the paper is lying, then bring all the minutes.
That's it.
Bring all the minutes.
Let's see what, let also see the languages that were used in there.
That were used.
Because he said, no, I'm not satisfied with the word recall. We invited him.
Yeah. So, hey, when you invited him, when he stayed there, if you invite him, he will still have to come back. He will have to come back to face the Senate if you invited him. So all he's saying, the language record is too strong. It was not what was said, but that was the language that was all on the floor. It was suggested by senators.
But he himself, even when you were talking, he kept saying
he mentioned it on the 31 senators, he mentioned recall. You know, Mike, this is what is happening in Liberia. That people don't want to say the truth. They always want to find will to bend the laws. And these people are not willing to stand up to the executive branch of government. These are the things that is crippling Liberia. You got to click up the Senate coming, oh no. Okay, go and sue FrontPage. So you say, but are you seeing, now that is a legal argument. Are you seeing that FrontPage line that the president did not, or the president had not violated the Constitution? Because you can say the paper line, that means is that if you say the paper line, there's nothing happening. But if the president violated the Constitution, then of course the ambassador should be recalled. Not invite, should be recalled to go back to his position where before being nominated. Because the president violated the Constitution. Article 54 is clear. B, Rule 55 is clear, precise to the point. It doesn't have to take any legal scholar to look at it. The language is very plain and simple. But you know, everybody want to show power. Everybody want to muscle the press in Liberia nowadays. These are the only reason. We want to muscle the press. Because the press is not sleeping. I think today saw all the posts I wrote today. Because it was from the background. People want to change everything in Liberia because the sake of one group of people.
All right. Let's take the gist of the paper. With respect to the language saga here. I said, Liberia's ambassador to the United States not recognized by Senate says commissioning was illegally done. Okay, it says here illegal ambassador. You guys have seen the photos already. I just showed it to you. Commissioned by President George Weah, and his letter of credence have been accepted by President Donald Trump to represent Liberia in the United States. But to the Liberian Senate, Mr. George Patton is on an illegal mission in Washington. Ambassador Patton was commissioned by President Weah on December 29, 2018, when the legislature was on its annual recess. His commissioning came under heavy criticism because it bypassed the constitutional procedure as enshrined in Article 54 of the Liberian Constitution. Senate votes recall. The Liberian Senate Thursday January 31st, voted in favor of a motion to recall Patton. The Senate plenary took the decision because they believe the ambassador's commissioning was unlawfully done by the executive. The president's decision was based on Rule 55 of the Liberian Senate, which gave him the authority to appoint official of the executive during their recess. But Rule 55 further calls on the president to refer said appointments to the Senate after their break for confirmation and appointment where necessary. Last week, the Senate's plenary charged its committees on Foreign Affairs and Judiciary with the responsibility to investigate a concern raised by Senator Nyombli Konga Lawrence, expressing concerns about Mr. Patton's commissioning as ambassador without facing the Senate for confirmation. The decision on whether or not to recall the ambassador came based on recommendations from the committees on Foreign Affairs and Judiciary, which urged the Senate's plenary in their report to take its responsibility. In a well-proffered motion, Senator Blair Brown of Maryland County moved the Senate immediately recalls the ambassador designate and be made to appear before the Senate in order to go through the confirmation and be reassigned. I move that the Liberian Senate immediately recalls the ambassador designate to the United States and that he be made to face the Senate's confirmation before reassignment. The Maryland County lawmaker motioned. Senator Vanny Sherman of Grand Cape Mount County, amending Senator Brown's motion, asked the Maryland senator changed the word or terminology recall, or I see. According to Sherman, the use of recall will mean the process has been terminated. Article 54 of the 1986 Liberian Constitution, the president shall nominate and, with the consent of the Senate, appoint and commission cabinet ministers, deputy and assistant cabinet ministers, ambassadors, ministers, consuls, and the Chief Justice and Associate Justices of the Supreme Court and judges of subordinate courts, superintendents, and other officials of other political subdivisions, members of the military from the rank of lieutenant of eight equivalent and above, and marshals, deputy marshals, and sheriffs. We will not remain silent, Bar Association. During his induction as president of the Liberian National Bar Association, Councillor Tiawan Gonglo lamented the flagrant disregard of the Constitution in the appointment of Patton as ambassador for the United States. He said, there is a current debate on whether the president can appoint an ambassador while the Senate is on recess. The clear legal answer to this is capital no. There is no provision under our Constitution for the appointment of an ambassador without the advice and consent of the Senate under any circumstances, Councillor Gonglo averred. He added that other countries, constitutional provision cannot be justification for any illegal action of a public office in Liberia. Article 54 of the Constitution of Liberia provides the appointment of the public officials by the president. There is no exception to this mandatory constitutional procedure, even if there is a state of emergency Gonglo added. He further argued, no provision in the Constitution provides for recess appointment. The Constitution of other countries may have provision for the appointment of the official when the Senate is on recess. For instance, Article 2, Section 2.3 of the American Constitution quote that the president shall have power to fill vacancy that may happen during the recess of the Senate, but which shall expire by the end of the next session. But provision from the United States Constitution cannot form the basis for appointing any officials in Liberia. The Constitution of Liberia provides how Liberia should be governed, said a popular human rights lawyer. He frowned on lawyers for not speaking out when there are national contentious issues, adding that the lawyers only confine themselves to issues brought to them by their clients. We will not and shall not be silent individually and collectively as members of the legal profession and confine ourselves to only issues brought to us by those who are able to pay us for our services, he urged his colleagues. Finally, while the legal provision is the means, we earn money to sustain ourselves like the bar of other countries. The Liberian people look up to us to give them counsel when they are confused, whether their government and its functionalities are in the framework of the law or not. Only we can make that clarifications. When we fail to speak on illegal action by public officials, we must take the blame if conflict erupts from our silence, Gonglo said. But this is quite clear. I mean, as far as I think it was Council Shimona actually brought the whole thing and said, oh, okay, this language it continues being used here in the house. Let's change it, let's bring it this way. So I'm in line with what you're talking, Amos. But what do you make of the entire story?
But this is just why I said, Mike, this thing is a very clear-cut issue. But you know why? It's not just from the past government. I remember when President Weah took over, the guy who was chief of staff, according to the Liberian Constitution, if he retired, I think he should stay out of politics for 7 years before he can go back to government. But President Weah took him and made him defense minister. And that was in violation of the Constitution. That was in violation of the Constitution. Now, what Councilor Vani Sherman said, recall, depending on language, is not termination. When you recall in this, according to the Senate position, or they only see now the ambassador should come back to where he was before and let the president send him back to the Senate. That's all the Senate is talking about. Okay? If you invite him to the Senate, what it mean? He still has to come back to go face the Senate. Okay? But the whole idea here that Councilor Gonglo said, that's why I said, because the laws have been violated in Liberia, and there are not people to question the authority. They don't have the backbone as an independent thinker or principle to say, you know what happened? This is wrong. Even if it's popularity or majority is right, but I know within myself it's wrong. I will stand up for this. They don't want to do it. And now you come, you fighting over, invite and recall. But what's about the Constitution that are being violated? And the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. You cannot say if anything, any law that is not compatible with the Constitution is not a law. This was just a simple issue might to be resolved. But because the president don't have regard for the Constitution, Because if the president had regard for the Constitution, all he should have done, right upon the return of the Senate from the break, all he should have done, write a letter to say, hey, honorable men, I appointed somebody during your absence. He's now coming back. I want you to confront this man. Even the appointment letter should have just said, I have nominated this person as ambassador to the United States, pending Senate confirmation.
Yeah.
Simple, I mean, just simple language. XYZ has been nominated as Liberian ambassador to the US. I mean, yeah, to the US, pending Senate confirmation. Simple. That would have closed the case, because upon the Senate return, they would have said, hey, Mr. President, we want this man to come back to face confirmation because he had not been cleared by the Senate. You would not hear all the noise. But because people don't have regard for law, for rules and order in Liberia, and they think that when you are president, that means you are above the law, you can do anything and nobody will question you. And now you see, over a simple language, some secretary of the Senate is coming out to say, to threaten the press, you must recall this language, what you said, it was not true, so you have to do so, or NASA will take in legal action against you. These are all means to muzzle the press, to silence the press, to intimidate the press, and to tell the Liberian people that you don't have the right to question the person that you put in power. Because if you are saying the press does not have the right, and that means you are also saying that the Liberian people don't have the right to question the leaders. And you heard what Councilor Gongo was very clear on this issue. Man, that's why I said, look, this thing is no rocket science. The language is elementary. Anybody can understand it. But because leaders, the executive branch, used to override the Senate, or ride the Senate, or the legislatures, because they are not men who has backbone to say, Mr. President, this will not go through because it's inconsistent with our laws. We will not do it until it is done properly. There's no men. And I bet you, this thing that going on, some people now always say, my man, if the president send me my brown envelope, I'm done. We'll confront the man. That's also some of them raising the issue to get money. They're not doing it because they are, some of them are not are sincere. No. Some of them are only doing it for the pocket, to line the pocket up. But these things, these people will be held accountable. These are the things we are seeing. The Liberian people should open their eyes to see who's representing them, to see who's speaking on their behalf. Because it's not time that lawmaker, you cannot stay in the house for 9 years and you don't say a word, you don't defend your people. Then you go by the people that they might elect you. 6 years, you must go back to be re-elected. For what? When you sit now, when all the laws have been violated by the executive branch, and these are patterns, sooner or later, if this pattern continues, there will be no more 3 branches of government. Because the president will tell the court what to do, he will tell the legislature what to do. Because and nobody will be there to stand up to say, oh no, Mr. President, you can't do this. We are co-equal branch. No one is higher than the friend. But they are telling the executive, oh, you're more powerful. You're the most powerful branch of government in Liberia, and which is not supposed to be so. But again, it's precedence. Because other leaders did it, they got away with it. So the next person coming in line and say, oh, because these people all make comparison. Oh, the person did it, so what's about us? But if you want to compare the United States law with that of Liberia, then so many people should be in jail by now.
Yeah, a lot of them.
If you want to compare the Liberian Constitution and the enforcement of law, interpretation of laws with that of the United States, the people should be in jail by now for what they're doing there. But you want to hear people come to compare something when it is in their interest. Then I want to know, oh, United States. But when it's against them, they don't call United States, they don't make mention in the United States. So if you say you want to compare your constitution or your enforcement or interpretation of your laws with a great country, then do those things that apply to the United States to interpret and enforce the law. But other than that, do not take other countries to compare their laws with our law. It cannot happen.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
Liberia has a constitution. So if you want to say anything, go back to the court, go by the records, go and get cases, and say this case happened, they were the ruling. So this is why we're asking that this should be done. And let us see, let it go to court, and let the Supreme Court say, okay, yeah, you are right. But other than that, you don't be comparing other countries with laws with Liberia law. No. Because the interpretation and the application are quite different when it comes to laws in Liberia. If it wasn't different, the person who not send this man to the United States as ambassador and not informing the Senate, even during the absence and upon the return, he had not done so. Even with what going on now, you don't think the person would have just written a letter to the Senate and say, hey, I will tell the ambassador to come to face confirmation hearing? But he's sitting down, waiting to say, I will see what they will do. Because why? It had happened in the past. So this is what they plan on, because the person even with the noise being made, all the person who had just called the president of the Senate and say, hey, when you want the ambassador to come back, I can bring the ambassador to go through confirmation. Write a letter of apology. It was an oversight. We didn't mean to do that this way. So I'm asking people, let the man come back from confirmation. But why go all through this wrangling? It means that they don't have anything major to do when they are burning issue in Liberia. So these are the things we have. These are the problems we are facing in Liberia. The rule of law. If the executive cannot enforce the law, the Senate cannot interpret the law. The judiciary, what they will do, the court. What the court will do?
Yeah.
The legislature don't make the law. The legislature make the law. The court supposed to enforce it. Interpret the law. The executive is supposed to enforce it. But if the executive is not enforcing it, the court is not interpreting the law.
All right.
It's not making the law to suit us.
Amos, we just lost look for. Let's do this last story. I need to read a letter before I go. Before we go. Just before yesterday, yesterday, there was a protest yesterday. I think the country now is like everybody wants to seek redress through protest because nobody listening. So it's like you read letters, nobody listening to you. They take your letter, they just put it in the trash. So I think that everybody now is resolving now, reaching out to protesting and whatever. But this particular one actually caught my attention yesterday. I did follow it. I don't know. Perhaps people are doing it now because of anger. Maybe they're angry, they're seeing the way other people are just enriching themselves and they're forgetting about them. So the only way now is to turn to protest. Let me show you what I'm talking about, and I will take a gist of this story, and we can go. Several aged citizens call on government to pay pension benefits. And if we look down here, the faces you will see here, you feel a bit sorry. And these people shouldn't be involved in protests. No way. These are old people. They have been in civil service for maybe for years. They retired until some of them were cleaners. And should we allow them to end this way before they can get their benefits? Should we? So let's take a gist of the story, and then Amos can give feedback, and some of you too, you can write what you want to write about the story. Why is it the only way now we have to resolve and call the government to order? They say here, a group under the banner National Pension Association of Liberia, NPAL, Thursday, January 31st, staged a peaceful protest before the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, demanding the CDC-led government for their pension benefits. The group had been protesting before the Foreign Ministry, which hosts the offices of the President, for the past 3 days, calling on government to address their plight and soaring economic hardship. One page, we'll have to talk about this thing. Yeah, some of that can read up people on the line. It's not fair. You have to be editing good. During the protest, members of the NPAL were singing and chanting, pay our pension benefits. They also held placards with the inscriptions, NASCO, we want our benefits, no to NASCO. So they mean that they don't want their benefit to go to NASCO, but rather, their benefits should be taken care of, probably by Ministry of Finance. According to them, the government have been paying their pension benefits check through the Ministry of Finance, but later diverted their payment to NASCO, making it difficult to receive their pension benefits. We here only to get our pay. We are pensioners. We always take pay. We don't want anything. We just want our pay. We know NASCO not to be institution that is responsible for pension benefits. We don't have trust in them, and we don't want them, one of the protesters told FrontPage Africa. The group said NASCO over the years has failed to remit their premiums deducted from them during active service. They said putting them under the authority of NASCO for pension benefit is unjust. The issue of our pay being taken over by NASCO will not help us as old people, because after we shall have passed, it is over. Our children will no longer benefit. Over the years, as far back as Totman's regime, the authority of the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning and then Ministry of Finance has been the custodian of our salary and disbursements. The group in a one-page document noted, NASCO involvement in pension benefits payment is confusing me because NASCO is only responsible for death benefit, not pension benefit, Edwin Gafaye told FrontPage Africa. Philip W. Carr, a retired colonel of the Armed Forces of Liberia, AFL, said NASCO is not charged with the responsibility to pay pension benefit, but rather death benefits. We in the paramilitary, they hold our checks that we must go to NASCO, and we don't know NASCO. People who go to NASCO are working class, but we are not working. We are out. We are pensioned. Colonel Kai averred. Mother Esther B. Vampel, 77 years old, lamented that she was retired by the government of Liberia after 30 years of professional service at the Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs. I am here for my pension pay, my January pension pay. I am hungry, and the government is refusing to give my pension pay, sending me to NASCO. I have been taking my pay with Finance Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. I want the government to pay our pension money through finance. I want to deal with finance because I have been dealing with them, she added. Mother Vampler said she has nobody to take care of her daily expense since her 2 kids passed away, lamenting that survival squarely rests on her pension benefit. I worked at the Ministry of State until the government of Liberia was satisfied with me and sent me to Israel to represent Liberia for the Feast of Tabernacle. Now I return. I can't get my pension pay, but when I die in your hand, then you buy a big expensive casket. Mother Vampire added. Okay, very last story, Amos.
Yeah, man, I don't know the act that created Social Security of Liberia. So I don't know the act. But what I want to say here, if the government of Liberia wants to transition the pension from that of the Ministry of Finance to the National Social Security of Liberia, I think there's a way they should do it. And they can say finance continue to reimburse these people checks until all the modalities are worked out to transfer all pensioners to National Social Security. But if you just come up with a pronouncement and tell people, hey, go to the National Social Security of Liberia, and the modality has not been worked out, how can the people get the check? Then that means these people are caught in the middle. Because they go to the Minister of Finance say, go to National Social Security. They go to National Social Security, they will say, go back to the Minister of Finance, we don't have a document yet. And you know how paperwork are slappily done in Liberia. These things are not computerized. You know how it goes. So now, you are not using these poor people who have worked all those years serving the Republic. Serving the Republic. How much is the pension money that you'll be drilling the old people up and down? This time that the sun in Liberia, that the people will be standing in front of the Ministry of Finance for 2 or 3 days, and they cannot get no redress. Say, hey, come, let us resolve. I will take care of this problem. And these are the things Mike was saying. Because when you see all the protests going around, it's like the people are giving up on the government. That, hey, if you say anything, nobody will listen to you until you jump into the street. This is why it's happening. You heard the president even mention in his state of address.
Yeah.
That the people across the bridge people in different communities had to get into the street for lights. Demanding that the community doesn't have light and the community should have lights. They have to jump in the street to demonstrate. So it is a new norms in Liberia. Why the government, those in charge, cannot do their job? And you complain that people in the past were doing the wrong thing. And you can send somebody a woman in the street demonstrating for a pension check. In some of the country will live, you retire, on the 31st, your check is in your account.
Mm-hmm.
The 100 million to you is there on the 30th. If there's any delay, one day they will inform you ahead of time. There will be delay that you will not receive your check this time. You get it this time. That is not done in Liberia. The people used to something. And if you want to change nothing, do not do it overnight. Do it gradually, so they can be absorbed into that new system that you try to introduce it, and give them some form of information, some form of education, so they can know where they're heading. But these people are not told anything. They just wake up one morning, go to the ministry to get a check. They say, oh no, you got to go to National Social Security and Welfare. Who is the person going to ask? Oh, just go there, go to the department. And they go walk in there. Oh my papi, we know that thing, that people say, in here, we know what you're talking about. This is sad for our people. Sad. Why you cannot put a system in place to address these people or concern? Why? And they go to the president, they go to this, I would just say they go to the foreign minister, executive marshal, wherever they go there. 3 days they're standing there. This president who is so concerned about the people of Liberia. Are you telling me you are president? And in front of your house, in front of your office, Mike, even Mike, you as a human being, if you go into your house or go into your office You get to your office, you open out, you get out of the car or walking to get to your office. You see 15 persons standing in your in front of your office.
Yeah.
You go in your office. You will not send someone out there and say, look, go in front of water people one, or you will start and say, look, hello,
Yeah.
white people, what happening?
What happened?
What you doing?
What's going?
And people in front of the foreign ministry, 3 days. The president pass, go to his office, come and go home. Mr. President, that's why the people say you are down to you are within, in the trenches, in the gutters. They say you are.
All right, we just lost Amos there, almost to the end of the show. The 1st of February 2019, second month of the year, and of course we're here live. Before we go, we're going to read you the letter we wrote to Amnesty International. Remember when the issue of this British the appointment of this ambassador came in, that we thought it was illegal. Justice Forum wrote Michael Aro Pompeo, who is the Secretary of State, the U.S. Department of State. We wrote him and we expressed concern. Let's see, we'll go back to Amos. Oh. Amos, you there?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's see whether we can wrap on that. Time almost caught up with us.
Yeah. So I mean, look, let it person, because this is the pattern, and this is the way of life in Liberia. Everything the people must go to the president, because people who are in charge are not addressing the people concerned. And as long as those people concerned have not been met, this is why we resort to that everything that will run to the executive mansion for the president to claim his attention. It's not time the president direct those people, say, look, if you are transitioning people from the Ministry of Finance to that of the Social Welfare, let the people continue to receive their checks until all the modalities are worked out with the Ministry of with the National Social Security before they can be transitioned to that area. Other than that, let the people get the pension check, or make some mandate the Ministry of Finance that before you pay anybody, pay the old people. These people are not able-bodied men and women again. Pay them before you can pay the able-bodied people. Get them their pension money. How much is the pension money? These people should be the first people to be paid in Liberia.
Yeah.
These people, some people are not mobile. They struggle how to get around. And so it's another hardship being posed on them by their own government.
It's not right, man.
You know, so, yeah.
It's not right.
So, Mike, I mean, look,
they
just wrap it. Yeah.
For these old people to go, I mean 3 days, they go and come, they spend 5, 6, 7 hours, nobody paid attention to them, they go back, walk back home, and then come back the next day. 3 days. And you want to tell me even the Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, Mr. Nathaniel McGill, can come down to talk to these people?
No, they're too big now. They're too big. They are too big now.
Simple. It's not right at all. So just before you go, let's hear from you. We're talking about the issue of the appointment that was made about the ambassador. So the last time Justice Forum, what we did, we wrote Michael Aro Pompeo, and because he's the Secretary of State, and we contested that at that time the issue of summation of credence, letter of credence or so was not even talked about. And so we actually protested that the president, that we're using his office to reach to the president and ask the president of the United States not to accept letter of credence from the ambassador appointed until he can go by and be, confirmed by the Senate. But then after a week or so, when they saw photographs that he did present a letter of credence and it was accepted. But then the good thing is now we're hearing that I think after we put fire behind our people, they now realize they have done. Stop calling me. I'm on live. They now realize that like the issue we're talking now, that this man have to be recalled, and I will continue to use the word. You guys are recalling him, and I'm inviting him. You are recalling him, and so again, the issue of the Deputy Minister for Public Affairs at the Ministry of Information, Honorable Eugene Fagon, with respect to the latest communication between him and one William, in which they threatened to eliminate advocates and those that are referred to as opposition as well. So what we did, we have decided not to take it lightly. Justice Forum. Today we wrote Amnesty International, and we brought this situation, this particular issue to their concern. And what we did, we also copied the text, those conversations as an evidence, and sent it alone to Amnesty International, so that they can be aware, and they can also help us to follow up this particular life-threatening statements with the individuals involved, since in fact he is one of them. Is not just an ordinary person, he is a government official who is living on the tax money of the people of Liberia. The very people that he's threatening are the people that are actually looking after him, for him to eat, for him to sleep well. Also, the taxes that we pay are the one that keeping him moving. So this is a letter. I just want to share the letter with you, and we can get your concern, and then we can just call it Dave, and then from there we report for next week. So this is it. Amnesty International, London, says situation Liberia case threats on life. 01 February 19. To whom it may concern, the above named civil society group advocating for social justice would like to bring to your attention a situation that is so grave and needs some intervention from organizations like yours and the institutions and other institutions and governmental representatives, especially near Monrovia, which includes ambassadors and their embassies. Okay, a few days ago, we came across a screenshot of a communication between a serving government official in the presence of Mr. Eugene L. Fagon and one William on Facebook, in which they expressed and issued out death threats against all advocates and members of the opposition bloc, both in Liberia and out of Liberia. When we came across this, we got concerned, taking into consideration the 14-year madness that took place in Liberia, in which an estimated 250,000 people, including children and pregnant women, died. We tried reaching out to Minister Fagon and gave him 72 hours to respond to said communication. During the period of waiting for his reply, we were also engaging with some individuals in Liberia regarding this matter, but sadly, this Deputy Information Minister for Public Affairs did not respond to our concerns. We therefore left with no alternative but to take the airwaves and issue a statement condemning their utterances. We have decided to reach out to you and seek your help so you can reach out to the administration of President George Weah and seek a redress in this matter to avoid them putting their plans into action. Please find attached with this communication copy of said conversation between Deputy Minister Eugene F. Fagon and one William for your perusal. Kind regards, Justice Forum Liberia based in the UK, and CC copy, which have gone also to Christine Elder, US Ambassador Monrovia. CC copy, David Beargrove, OBE, British ambassador to Liberia. Those letters, they are also gone. What is your take on this?
Now, let me make it clear for the record, Mike. I know Eugene Falcon personally. Friend. We play soccer together. We eat together. I think you can attest to it. Because I was on the same program, and that how he called to inform you personally that he knew me and I was his friend, and he told you almost everything about me. Now, what I'm trying to say, if at all the conversation that went on and Eugene Falcon, I know he watched this program and stated that if he did it, I asked my friend and brother Eugene Falcon to apologize.
Yeah, that's it.
To apologize. Eugene, I know you follow this show. If at all you made those comments, I want you to retract those statements, to apologize. Because it was the same scenario that led us into the 14-year civil war that you and myself were in Ghana. We may disagree to agree. I do not have to agree with you on everything that the government is serving. You don't have to agree with me. But we don't have to get to the point that we will be threatening one another's lives. Because that's why we are saying we are civilized people. We should have our discourse. We should not let working for government or any position to drive us into violence against one another. So, and what I'm seeing is that I think Mike, you saw most of the things, some of the things I wrote today, you commented on some. Because it was from that backdrop, I try to remind Liberians, we don't want to go back to the days that we'll be running again. To the days your brother will not recognize as your brother. To the day your friend will not look at your brother but as an enemy.
Yeah.
I think the 14 years we should be able to learn more lessons from the 14 years and try to build a positive relationship, regardless you are in a different camp. Because that's why we see we live in the Western world happen. People disagree. To agree, people are on opposite sides, they talk. But when you make this kind of statement, it may not be you, Eugene, but some crazy person sitting now in the street will do something and they will say, oh, the minister said it.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. The guy was not one of the parliament in Ghana. This guy threatened journalists. And he focused on a particular journalist. And this guy was gunned down in Lazarus in Accra. The first thing they called him, the law enforcement called him to talk to him, to question him. And he said he didn't do it. But people are saying now, hey, you said that you are going to expose him and you are going to do, you urge people to do anything to him. And that's what happened. So what I want my brother to do, Eugene Falcon, please, gotta be careful with our words. What we say tomorrow will come back to haunt us. You may say something that you don't have the intention of doing, but you say it. And some Christian jack-headed person sitting down there will go and do something, and they'll say, oh, Eugene Falcon said it last time, so that what happened. So that's why we have to be very careful of what we say about our friends, whether in opposition or in different areas. There are people who I disagree with, but I don't threaten them. There's a gentleman always used to insult me, Mike, on the very show. And he said, but one day when he saw my page, Mike, he wrote me to say, oh, I'm sorry, sir, I didn't know you were that kind of person. And I said, oh, but suppose you are not seeing my picture and you've been doing all the insult to me because you saw my picture, now you're saying, oh, I didn't know you were this kind of person. So I'm just saying,
What is the point?
The air is too charged. let her fall back a little bit. Because today you're in government, government will come and go. You will still see us. I will still see you. So let us be careful. If you are listening, or anybody who is listening to the program, Eugene, I want you to be sincere and say, look, I know you. To say, look, you know what happened? I misspoke. I didn't mean it that way. And let's move on. Because whatever today we will write, whatever today we say, this is the digital world. It's going to our archive.
Yeah.
It's going to our archive. And maybe you myself will be, oh, I'm already old, I will say. But tomorrow someone will question me. You said this. Why you said it? What were you thinking? Because you are in power. So these are things. We have to be very careful.
Amos, you just explained, you link your time with, you and him and the rest of the guys in Ghana, perhaps in Bujumbura also, wherever it was. But for anybody who have had such an experience, I don't think when you hear this kind of a thing now, anybody saying anything about killing somebody in mass, you will really feel pleased about it. That's why the last time the other guy, they say he's a chairman for CDC in Ghana. Man, for him, what he said was like, he asked in and urging President Weah to copy what happened in the barracks those days when the PRC took over. They said they should put people on the posts and fire them. This guy, I called this, I communicated with this man. I even called him and live. I said, I want to bring you on my show. This because of this situation. I want you to come and clear the way. Because he talking and say, oh, it's not me, this and that and whatever. People challenge him when he said that. I said, brother, I mean, I don't think, any sound Liberian should be saying this. But Amos, this is your brother. You need to talk to him. These words, let me show you again. And we know this is his particular image on Facebook, that we all know him. But this here is what actually is so fearing. It is scary what these guys are saying here. There's a brother who even asked him down here by the name of Mohammed Doso. He said, brother, are you saying this? And let me read what it said. William W. Slim King, bro. The moment this thing came out, I went on Facebook to find this guy, but maybe he vanished or he changed the name quickly or he closed that account. This is what he said. With this dispensation and with this precedent, protest can't work to see him out. Stop wasting your time. And any attempt from those evil guys to bring civil unrest on our people, even the chicken in their generation will not live to tell the story. We will execute all of them. We are well prepared for that. Both in and out of Liberia, we will follow them and execute down to their chicken we keep. Now, for this guy saying this, he had 3 likes. And then Eugene came down and said to William, I said the same thing. Now imagine this is a serving minister, a civil servant of the Republic of Liberia, buttressing this kind of a statement from his friend or somebody. And then the same William guy came down and called the attention of Eugene L. Fargon. He said, maybe they think we are here for play. We will kill all of them. Let them try it. And then when the other brother came down now, he said, Mohammed Donso, he said, Eugene L. Fargon, did you say that too? This is, it must concern anybody. Let me be, I'm not going to joke with it. That's why for me, I decided, our organization, we decided to take it this way. We wrote Amnesty International, let them get involved. This is serious.
Mike, someone sent, I don't know, maybe the person knew more, but someone sent it to me. And when I read it, I was like, is this real? But man, you know what I want to say to these people, and I will still say that if you said it, you know, just be honest with yourself and say, like, no, what happened? Someone says something and I overreact and maybe my post on it, I'm sorry. But let me tell our people. Maybe some of these people, and I was sometimes use the phrase, we hard to learn but quick to forget. I remember in Liberia, 7 o'clock, dusk to dawn curfew, when people were screaming at the Lutheran compound that night, and none of us could get outside to say what was happening. In the morning, the news spread that there was a massacre at the Lutheran compound. All of inquisitive, some of us decided to walk to see the area, sneaking through communities, and when you got around there, area was deserted. They saw clothes hanging to windows, people trying to escape, and clothes maybe left through the windows and things like that. We saw the UN compound on the old road, night again, being attacked. When I saw that post, only thing reflected to me what happened in Liberia when the government going this way. And man, now I see today, I wrote all those things. We saw that thing before. Liberia, Rwanda, South Africa, Bosnia, Yugoslavia, all the countries. We saw one group of people trying to eliminate all the tribes, but it never succeeded.
No.
So why today, in the same conflicts, let us go to Ghana? And today, if you are in Ghana, to write, even if you are in Ghana, anywhere you are, because it was the war that took many Liberians to different areas today, different parts of the world. So anywhere, in any segment or any corner of the world, why would you go to write such a post? What is driving to that point? The president we are that you people are protecting today, President we are took over from another government.
Yeah.
Through a peaceful transition. President we are then tore casket in Monrovia against Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. The burnt tire in the street. It is our fundamental human rights to demonstrate. The Constitution ensure gave us that right. You have the right to demonstrate against your government. You have the right to assemble. You have the right to recall your government if they are not doing the right thing. It is embedded within the Liberian Constitution. So what is driving our brother and friends to this lane? Bro, let me be honest. Whether like it or not, President Weah will not serve lifetime president in Liberia. He has 6 years or 12 years to go. But Liberia will remain. And we, as long as we live, we will stay in contact with one another. I don't think these kind of words or languages, it is not good for our discourse. It is not good for our young democracy we're trying to build. He won the vote. He has the power, but we have to check him. Just how you did the other government. We have to check him. It is within the Constitution. And if you feel that anybody is trying to survive the government through illegal activities, you still cannot execute them. You have to take them to court. But using the word to execute people, the chicken, you go after them. home and abroad. And let me say this: those who are closer to President Weah must come out to make a statement to all his ministers and lieutenants that people should be careful of what they say that are working for him in his government. Because if something goes wrong, unintentional or intentional, he's going to be the one to be blamed. You saw Henry Costa registration was burned. I mean, was destroyed, was attacked a few days. And when ministers are making these kind of statements, and people who are speaking against the government, their property being attacked or being damaged, what do you think people start pointing to? Who do you think people start pointing the finger at? We see that protest in Liberia is becoming very, very dangerous.
Nah.
Very dangerous.
Okay.
And if a minister, especially someone in the government, is sanctioning a statement, hey, I don't think that minister should be asked by the president to make some clarity. So I say the Eugene is my friend. But I just seen
democracy and rule of law trio. It will happen here in the country. Here. It will happen in America there, and that minister stay in power.
In America, he would have resigned. The president would have asked him to step down. Once they investigate that, hey, yeah, you said it, there is proof. The president will ask him politely to resign. Even the civil society, there will be so much call from the civil society.
Oh yeah.
That the president said, no, you know what?
Your whole family cell will be in trouble. Newspaper, I mean, all the journalists read to your door every morning.
Because you cannot go to threaten other people like this. You threaten other people formally. There's no.
Okay, Amos. Let me say a big thank you to you. Our time fast spent now for tonight.
Yeah,
hopefully next weekend we meet. Do have yourself a pleasant weekend, brother.
Okay, Mike. The same to you and to all our listeners.
Yeah, thank you so much, and goodbye for now.
Okay, Mike. Take care and have a good night.
All right, I don't, but let me do an exception on the show. Let me call the brother. He first time calling on the show, so let me take his call. Daniel Wisner.
Yeah, my dear brother, how you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm just gonna do an exception because your time is finished, but I have to take you. Welcome. We've been covering a lot of things. I don't know whether you've been following or you just coming. What is your take?
Yeah, anyway, I just coming in, but I think I have an idea on the message that you were just showing on your talk show.
Okay, yeah, that was the closing one there, yeah.
I just want to give my own little expertise as it relates to what you are discussing. You know, the last caller who just left said something. Liberians are very quick to learn. I mean, hard to learn and quick to forget. You are a journalist. When a journalist speaks in a journalistic term, you understand what he means and you can condemn it as a journalist. And so I want to condemn what Eugene Fagon just posted on Facebook as it relates to my own experience. You know, Liberians, Eugene Fagon forget to understand where he's coming from. We were right in America yesterday, and today he's in Liberia.
Yeah.
The very people he's sitting in their midst today and making threats were the same people that held Liberia a hostage. But today he's in power. I think he can use any kind of, profanity or use any kind of threat against somebody. But he forget to know that where he's sitting on a time bomb. But my problem is with George Weah. And very soon I'll be making a video on that to warn him, because he's been very, very lenient with his ministers, with his government officials. And these guys are damaging him. I told George Weah the last time that all around the world in the history of Liberia, you are one of the presidents who were being, overwhelmingly elected. You got the vote during your inauguration. People left from all over Europe, the diaspora, just to go and witness your inauguration. And today you are allowing friendship to damage you. When the time comes to get on the hook, two fishes doesn't hang on one hook. One person will go, and it is you. Where is President Taylor today? With all the loyalty President Taylor had, that everybody were giving him today, where is he sitting down? Mr. Weah, when people criticize you, you're supposed to understand, listen to it, and learn and say, no, I think what the guy's saying is making sense. And let me deal with it this way. But he aligned friendship. Eugene Fagon, that was right in America yesterday, is sitting in a lucrative position today and then threatening people. I don't know whether Judge Weah is kind of enjoying these people, the kind of, big show things they're doing, talking blah, blah, blah. Is that the words that he's using, is the jargons they're using, is that what impresses him or what? I really don't understand it. I can't understand why the brother would be doing such a thing like this. You are a president. And Judge Weah had to learn. Just take for instance, you sitting in your own closet and things you discuss come from right within, and people who are outside are explaining what you discuss in your room. What doesn't this thing ring bell to this brother to say somebody is in my midst that's giving something about me? Okay, Georgie, I agree. You did not go to school to learn certain things, but my brother, you must be wise. You must be streetwise. So you get the best brain to put them to certain areas to be able to help. See why he finance minister who should have been making policy for him. See what he did, and he himself endorsed the nonsense that brother did. You look at $10 million and just $40 million or $10 million to say you put it in the budget and just give it to.
Losing Mr. Voice now, due to sometimes calls come in, I'm gonna kick you out. This is how we're gonna leave here actually for tonight. Thank you so much, all of you that had joined. Let me see what perhaps Daniel wants to finish the statement. Okay, he just dropped actually. Okay, I think he's back. Let's see. I'm gonna do an exception. Let's. That was better. Land. We're saying like we're letting land down in the show. Okay, yeah, brother.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. It's a network. I'm so sorry. Okay, so I think, like you rightly said, you people who has the necessary contact need to press on these things so that this guy will come to checklist. This kind of thing it does not offer well for Liberia. We will not always be Liberia every day when there is problem, Liberia. We're tired running to other neighboring countries. The neighboring countries are tired with us now. Okay, they came to our aid, and I think it's about time that we must be responsible to be able to handle our own affairs. And not every day, instead of preaching peace, we're preaching the kind of divisive politics just to divide the country. Eugene Fagon sitting there today, one foot is in Liberia, one foot is in America. All right? So something happened today, he'll be getting himself from there and running to America. But he forget to know. All right? He forget to know they think they're sowing today, it will still go after them. He using remark talking about, he'll go after people, even the chicken they have in the house will not tell, they can never tell the story to live. That's a blatant lie. When he's sitting down there, he better ask questions. All right? He thinks some of us sitting here, we're not monitoring what they're doing. That nonsense they're doing to Liberia there, they think because there are people sitting in Liberia just watching them and looking at them, they don't want to talk. But these guys doesn't have fear to even understand that what they're doing, there are other people who don't want to talk, but when people speak, Liberia turn the other way. All right? So, I just want to condemn that nonsense he did. And I think, like the caller said, George Weah has his honor obligation to bring a ministers or whoever to checklist. The kind of thing is too much. Enough is enough for Liberia. It's enough. Okay? It's enough.
Okay.
They should be the one around that man to be able to give him, put policy into place and advise him when he's going wrong. But instead of, they are all helping him to just drive the country the way they feel it. All right? And he's sitting there threatening people. When somebody said this, you threaten the person. When the person said this, you threaten them. For what?
Opportunists. How they can work.
Man. Thank you so much.
All right, Daniel. Thanks. Thanks for your encouraging words as well. Let's hope that they are going to listen to what we've been saying around here. But we're not going to relent. We already sent our communication. We're going to sit there and wait for it. Okay, let's do another exception. Timothy. Gonna do another exception. Let's get Timothy. Let's go to Monrovia, Liberia, and get Timothy there, who we'll just hear from finally before we take our exit. But that's how we're gonna end the show tonight. Let's see whether we can get Timothy all the way there in Monrovia, Liberia. Okay. Strong advocates for social justice. Oh, the line dropped again.